Mute my mic, and then I'm gonna transition us over.
Transition.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We're all here.
Hello.
Wait, I love this.
Hello.
Welcome in, everybody. Hello. I'm Jen. I'm hosting our wonderful Keepies event. We have some amazing creators from the Firekeepers. You're going to hear me say this a million times. But without being in the Firekeepers, they're also fantastic creators of their own. We are joined by the wonderful The Wives Anarchy. If you'll tell us about you.
Hello, hi, I'm Christy of the Wives Anarchy, a pair of Savic streamers from the Dark Souls Estates. New Jersey. It's New Jersey. We're literally built on poison swamps. Do not argue on this, but yeah, I have a whole theory about it. My partner Amanda and I play Soulsborns, but also do some TTRPG nonsense. We have a bitter book club in which we read TikTok darling books and then destroy them on air because it's funny. And then, we fuck around and find out other games like Biohazard or Final Fantasy X-2 or, let's say, Kingdom Hearts for some reason. Don't worry about it.
That's amazing. And of course, we've got the Exo Crummy. Tell us about you.
Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Renee. I also go by Karami. My pronouns are they, she, very heavy on the they. I'm your fellow Black queer creative. I am live on this platform, Twitch, Monday through Friday for your pleasure. I'm a variety streamer. We do a couple series on the channel. I do Eat Your Souls Out Tuesdays. I do couples co-op on Wednesdays with my partner. And then I also host my own indie showcase. It's called the Indie Dreamcast with Crummy on Thursdays. And then finally on Fridays, we do Fortnite Fridays. So we have a really good time. We do a little bit of everything. I'm multi-disabled and Twitch is my full-time job. And I'm just grateful to be here. I'm so excited.
Well, I'm excited you're here. I love it. We're also joined by the wonderful Umber Glue. Tell us about you.
Hello. So I am an Arab American streamer. I am 31 and I started streaming originally because I wanted to help a friend get to a better medical facility, which was successful. It was my first fundraiser and it was very successful. But other things about me, I have a limb difference and I am oddie gender. So my pronouns are she, they. I play a lot of RuneScape. Yeah, so much RuneScape. But yeah, that's it.
I love. Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm excited we're going to do something together. And we'll be joined by Quirky Brain Circuit here in about 10 minutes. We can all blame Toronto traffic. She's stuck, but they're on their way. And then, last but certainly not least, we have Saint Sunflower. Tell us about you.
Hi, I'm Saint. You can call me Saint or Sunflower, I don't mind. I'm a games journalist by profession and a Twitch streamer on the side. I play a lot of variety games. I like to mess around in Souls games. Currently playing Claire Obscure, and I like to showcase a lot of indie games and like cozy cuddly games. I don't have a schedule because disabilities be chronic, but that's me. Hi.
I'm so excited. And I'm Jen, if you guys don't know who I am. I stream here on this channel Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and I'm just a comedy-focused, body-positive, very queer individual who cares very deeply about all the conversations we're going to be having today, including this one. So welcome to coming out and logging in. We're going to be chatting a little bit about navigating identity in online gaming spaces, finding safe havens in Twitch, Souls-like communities like hopefully ours, and digital friendships. And I have a question to get us started, and we're sort of just going to popcorn around and make sure that we all get some time to speak. But whoever would like to answer first, I have a burning question. What was the first online space where you felt safe to be yourself?
To be honest, I'll go first.
Okay, do it.
To be honest, the first thing that comes to mind, honestly, is Tumblr. Like, that's the first thing that comes to mind. It's just like all the fanfic, you got to like really just be yourself, post whatever you want. It really helped with like my coming out process and finding myself and finding like-minded like community. I feel like that was like the first place, honestly, like that set this tone for everything.
Mine was World of Warcraft. I played a Night Elf Hunter, and I started making a bunch of new friends because I'm a crazy person who played it by herself. And they were like, "Oh, who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, Christy, you know, blah blah blah, whatnot." And like, you know, didn't think of it because I didn't want people knowing who the fuck I was. Yeah, it was like, it was during the lockdown, so I was, you know, making new friends because I had nothing else to do. So it was, you know, kind of like role playing a new gender online, and then.
For sure.
You know, stuff progressed, and you know, Estrogen started, and League of Legends Arcane dropped on Netflix, and that's my story.
That is so
joking,
real.
by the way, but yeah.
I mean, I'm not. Arcane is so good.
The pink hair, the pronouns, the eyebrow notch, yeah.
Vi in real life, for real, for real. The role-playing gender to transition change is real, and I've heard that the commentary a lot in sort of transgender spaces where gaming and roleplay communities like Dungeons and Dragons and things like that are absolutely spaces where you get to explore yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
For myself, I would say D&D, but this isn't my panel. So Umberglue, Saint, what are the places you would say?
RuneScape. That's just going to be my answer to everything. But yeah, so I started playing in middle school, and I never like really fit in when I was in public schools and things like that as a child, because I was very autistic and very undiagnosed. So that was, you know, hard. But in RuneScape, it was very, very different. It was very easy to be me.
That's so fascinating. So I am, for people who aren't familiar with RuneScape, is it sort of like a role-playing game like World of Warcraft in a way, where you can connect on that, or what would you say what the differences would be?
Yeah, it's an MMORPG. It's the main difference would be that it's point to click. And is WoW point to click, or do you use WASD?
WASD.
Yeah.
WASD.
Yeah.
Okay.
So another reason I loved it so much and it just like fit for me was because of my hand. I can't play a lot of certain games on the keyboard, but since this is point to click, it was just like I loved it.
Oh, we love accessibility.
Yeah, that makes it. Yes,
Fuck
accessibility
yes.
in gaming. Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, that's cool. I've never played any of those games. I'm not gonna hold you, so I'm just like I'm learning.
No, I
I'm
love.
absorbing. Like, wow,
Yeah,
I should have been
I do
there.
not recommend
Should've
not
been
playing
there.
WoW enough. In your free time.
I heard it'll
And
take
also,
over your life.
It does. It does.
Just don't do it.
Okay, you know I would.
Don't install League. Don't install. I can list games you
won't do
shouldn't
it.
play. There's a lot of them. Turns out.
I'm like, oh
Turns
yeah,
out.
like League, right? Like League of Legends. Okay, yeah,
It's-
that took over your life.
I've
too.
given Riot so much of my money for merchandise and
Oh my
statues and
gosh.
T-shirts. I will never reinstall League of Legends.
You got it.
I've heard that before.
Been free for about 4 years. It's not
Oh my
happening again.
Same. Saint, what about you?
Goodness.
God, for me it would probably be something like Habbo Hotel, which is like a real throwback.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Please tell people what that is
God.
if they don't know.
Yeah.
So it was, I think it's like a Flash game equivalent. Like it's an online chat room type thing, but it's also like you get to create your own little character. You get to play like games and chat with people, and there'd be like a lot of role playing, and like fun games and like dress up competitions. So that was like a huge thing for me that I played a lot as a kid.
Yeah. No, I can't even. That's so fascinating, and I kind of love that, like Flash games, MMORPGs,
Yeah. It's a
Tumblr,
throwback.
like online spaces, and Dungeons and Dragons, which I did do online. Like that's a lot of spaces, and I think that really highlights that there is a lot of community in a lot of other niche spaces that we can really lean into, and learning how those spaces like impact us and like how they've served us is really nice. How has our identity shaped in the way that we engage with games like Souls games and other online games and communities?
I shit you not. I got better at Soulsborne once I transitioned.
Please elaborate.
That's so real.
Estrogen is Estrogen. Listen, number of Soul games I platinumed before Estrogen, 0. Number of Soul games I platinumed after Estrogen, 1. But you know what? That's 1 times more, okay?
That is 1 times
We
more,
love
and
to see it.
that tracks.
I'm not sure that's the actual science. I don't know. When my partner and I started living together, I started Estrogen when we bought Elden Ring day one, and like at the time I had maybe played a few hours of DS3 and like a few hours of Bloodborne, but it wasn't, would you say, good or coherent or know what I was doing per se in those games. Whereas Elden Ring, I don't know, something about that hit. So
For sure.
I'm kind of rambling, but yeah, no, it's just because I had nothing against that joke of actual value. But no, it's
You were saying so many things of actual value. First off,
Yeah. For sure.
Well,
That's
I
relatable,
mean,
honestly.
so I love that sort of commentary as well, where it's like, actually being able to be myself made me be better at the game, and that's sort of what I'm reading as the underlying aspect of that.
Jokes aside, I think there's like a stereotype in the trans community. You're either a full-out trans or you're a Soulsborne trans, and from there it breaks down to like, do you play Magic the Gathering? Do you play Warhammer? Do you play D&D? Did you watch Arcane? If so, go back to this one, and it's a whole like Venn diagram of like flows and charts and whatnot.
Oh,
but,
I love that.
I don't know. So about, well, again, I joke, but also partially true. Bloodborne is basically the horrors of waking up as a trans person in London. So like that game hits in a way other games don't hit. You know, Soulsborne or otherwise. So like, there's a lot of trans-coded stuff in Soulsborne. So I think like that stuff being in the DNA of those games really made me want to, get good, for lack of a better term.
For sure. No, and we have another guest who has arrived. Hi, Quirky.
Hello.
Welcome back from traffic.
Amazing.
Yeah, happy you're here.
Toronto traffic is a special type of hell that only those that are fortunate and misfortunate to live here have to experience.
That is so fair.
I'm so sorry.
Quirky, to railroad you in to the conversation, first tell us about you so we can do a shout out in chat.
Hi.
I love it.
I'm Quirky, pronouns are she, they. I talk a lot. I always like to joke that I'm a yapper masquerading as a variety streamer. But yeah, I do a lot of gabbing. I love playing variety games. I am big on community, and yeah, I always wanted to get into Souls games, which like I think some of the questions will explore that, so I can kind of go into more detail when that happens. But there was kind of a weird barrier of entry where everybody that I knew played it were men or mask, and so it was hard to like open up that that desire to then get into the games. And so finding this stream team has been like this really nice little safe space of just positivity, and everyone is so lovely, and so
no one was paid for their comments.
Wait,
You said, you guys, wait a second, I did.
5.2 already. I gotta go. Sorry, Twitch TV, the ones that are paid.
That's awesome.
Gotta go. Bye.
We were starting off the conversation by talking about our first online spaces where we felt safe to be ourselves, and we talked about Tumblr and World of Warcraft and old Flash games and RuneScape and Dungeons and Dragons. There's so many places. And then I diverted the conversation slightly to talk about how our identity shapes the way that we engage with Souls communities. And you sort of touched on that in your intro, in that most of the people that you have sort of engaged with have been mask or male or something that hasn't made you feel like you belonged. And I think that really makes a huge difference. But does anyone else have a commentary about that?
Ooh, I do.
Yeah, Saint.
So actually, kind of piggybacking off that, my ex got me into Dark Souls, and he was like quite the toxic gamer. So I'm very glad that my view of Dark Souls wasn't destroyed, but I find it really uplifting to be like a woman and like in feminine spaces playing Dark Souls, seeing like other femme creators play Dark Souls, do challenge runs, do all this crazy shit, because it's like it was always like kind of promoted as like a men's game. And it's like anyone can play it. Like my brother is better at it, and he was like 14 when he started,
And in fact,
So-
Christy started doing it better when she transitioned.
Yes.
Exactly.
As we learned.
I had the receipts.
It's a girls' game.
Yeah. Dark Souls
I
is for the girly
definitely-
pop.
Yeah,
How
for
many-
sure.
How many girls have I brought to
love
Flame
that.
Keeper since, Jen? At least 2?
Right.
Crummy, you were saying? Sorry, I think you're
Yeah, no, you're fine, no rush. No, I was sitting here, I was really absorbing what everybody was saying, and I was really thinking about my answer, and it kind of like blends everything together because we're talking about relationships, identity, gender, all of that, expression, community. And it made me think about, like, for me, because we're talking about partnership, in my current relationship, my long-term relationship here, it's that relationship that's actually made me feel more welcome and seen and heard and loved and valued for my gender queerness, my expression. Like, my partner is a cis hetero man, you know. And I identify as queer. I date everybody. I love everybody, right? And but he also loves that about me. Like, I don't feel like I could dress however I like. I can express myself however I like. His masculinity, for example, is not threatened by my fluidity with my gender and my expression and how I show up and me being very big gay. Like, he's not intimidated by that. And this was the first relationship that I found myself able to be my full self and have comfortably the friends, the community, and foster that, you know. And so I find that for me, getting into the Souls, right, it's very new for me. I started this year. My baby is Bloodborne, love down bad. But it wasn't until being secure and safe and seen and valued and loved by him first, and then the people around me, that, you know, it was like a trickle domino effect, you know, because I was getting cared for and loved for properly, and then it just kind of like exuded everywhere.
Yeah.
And now I feel like powerful. I feel like I can play these harder games. I feel like I'm being challenged. He challenges me, you know? So I feel like that's where it started for me, was like that love of being who I am. And
I
it kind
love
of like
that.
came out everywhere.
No, that's so great.
Yeah, very grateful.
Umber, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Well, I feel like this is kind of cheesy, but I feel like Dark Souls is just a good it's a good comparison to life, because a lot of us especially, are just, you know, the underdog, and things are difficult. But in Dark Souls, you know, you can keep going and eventually win. And I just kind of think about my life that way too.
Yeah.
Like, eventually I can get the hang of this.
I fully agree. I think that sort of leads us, the conversations around, like, you know, comfortability sort of really leads us into our next question, which is, have you ever felt more comfortable coming out or expressing yourself in an online space before an in-person space? This is something that I'm passionate about, because I really feel like there is a lot of connection that can happen in online spaces that sometimes, especially in people who live in certain areas, do not have. And I'd like to talk about that, if anyone would like to start.
I can, if y'all go with that.
Please.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm a yapper. Yeah, no, I definitely came out online to my friends first and in person, because, and I'm sorry for being a little depressing. It's a scary time to be trans in America, more so now than then. But, like, you know, when I came out, it was not a great time, and it's not gotten better. So it's like a lot of just like, hey, keep this to yourself, because you don't know. I've especially if someone who's on Twitch, I've had friends get swatted on air and off air. I've had friends, you know, harassed. I mod for someone who's been targeted by several hate groups, and like, it's scary out there. So doing the internet thing where you can kind of control who could see what and whatnot, yeah, no, that was a no-brainer. I wasn't fully femme in public for at least like 7 or 8 months before that. When I started HRT, I still had like a little bit of a beard, because, you know, again, scary, and also just coming to terms with the whole that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I'll leave the house in makeup more often than not. But even then, it's still a little scary, just because you don't know. You don't know. Also, I'm lazy. That's the big one too. Like, you know, Saturday morning Trader Joe's run, I am not doing this. I am throwing on a clean t-shirt, sweatpants, and a hoodie. And
I mean, relatable, same.
Yeah. That's not a gender thing. It is 8 in the goddamn morning.
That is an 8 in the morning thing.
Right, that's so
Not that
real.
common,
That's
okay?
so real.
Yeah.
Me right now.
Yeah.
So fair. Anyone else would like to comment about coming out online or expressing yourself online in a way before doing it in person?
I think, if I may, I feel like it makes it. I agree. Yes, I definitely did that. But I feel like it makes it, it's safer, to be honest. I mean, it really just comes down to safety in a lot of ways, where you're able to, there's so many spaces, be it on Twitch and even, back in the day on MySpace or wherever you were, like, Reddit, wherever you go. I mean, a lot of us still do it today, constantly seeking, much like, the stream team, constantly seeking out that inclusive space where we can just be our quirky, full selves and not having to make ourselves small. And I do feel like having those safe spaces online does make it easier for you to show up, especially all of us are creators, we're streamers. So we want to be able to foster a community that reflects those same morals and makes it a safe space for other people. So yeah, definitely 100%. It allows you to be authentic for other people and show them that there's like power in that as well, and it's safe.
Definitely.
It's just easier, I think.
We love when online is easy.
Point blank period. So I love it.
Honestly, like it's difficult. The real world is difficult. So being half Arab, my life changed after 9/11. Like just cut and dry changed. Was different. But online, people don't see those things about you, the things that don't actually matter. They see you, and that's a lot easier.
Yeah.
I was gonna piggyback off of that because the thought that I had too that I really like and kind of find comfort in is there is an anonymity in online spaces. When I see a username, that is a username of someone or someone that I just find delightful. Like, you have a great username, and there is no like gender binary attachment to it. I don't need to assume anything about this individual. I don't need to assume anything about their sexuality, where unfortunately many people get judged by their physical appearance, right? And so I do love being able to, much like a space like Twitch, being able to just join in on a chat room, and if I pop in and say hi, it is like, hello, how are you? And we get to know each other as individuals, as opposed to, well, what do you look like, and what, you know what I mean, and try to break down and like immediately start categorizing people into boxes that may or may not, they subscribe to. So
yeah.
No, those were amazing points. Yeah,
that reminds me a lot. Playing WoW is something where, for me, it was like, I can be whoever I want to be, and like, they don't care if I'm a woman, they don't care if I'm a guy, they don't care what my name is, they just know me as this mage who runs dungeons, who runs raids and everything, like, and they accept me as me. I don't have to be anything except a mage, and that's it. And that's why I love being able to play multiplayer games where I can just be that person, or play Final Fantasy, be the mage there, the thaumaturge there, and no one will ask, well, what do you look like? Do you have this? Do you have that? It's no one's business. We just want to play the game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Big freaking true. And that sort of leads us pretty seamlessly into like digital friendships and like Twitch communities, and like finding queer affirming spaces in a gaming space. Is it harder to do so? How's your experience been? How has your experience been with that and finding friends and spaces?
It's been good for me. my husband is Ace, and I well, together. It's a long story, and it's quite a touchy subject for some people. But we decided to add a third person to our marriage. Not legally, you know how it goes. So I met the very first people that were also doing this, like living this lifestyle on Twitch, and I had been so ashamed because we live in a very conservative place, and it was basically like it was a no-no, but it was what worked for us, so it's what we wanted to do. But when I found out that there was a whole demographic of people that felt the same way I did, I was like, wow, I'm not insane. You know, it was just like it was good. It was good.
Would anyone else like to piggyback off that?
Sure. Yeah, actually, Discord has been amazing for that. When I was questioning my identity during COVID, I met a lot of friends who were just having to be trans femme. You know, what are the odds, right? And then from there, you know, once you get like, you know, the background check and whatnot, they know that you're one of them. I say as one of them now. So that opens a lot of doors. One of my favorite communities, if y'all watch the Summer Games Done Quick or the Awesome Games Done Quick things, there's the Frame Towels, which is an all femme identifying group. There's a little trans-only space in there that I fucking adore. And then just like other like fandom communities, like I've met so many queer or NB trans Arcane fans because of, you know, the brain rot. It's been wild. And then just like also just like being an open trans person on Discord, you're gonna find the people. Just you go into Discord, you find the other trans girl there, and then like you two start yapping, and you jump to a different Discord, and then like, kind of already just like assembling a little trans army. It's the best.
Yeah, no, I love that. And
That's beautiful.
what advice would all of you give to someone struggling to find a queer affirming space?
Ooh.
Don't give up.
Ooh.
It's going to be easier online than in person, and I say that as a trans woman who lives in New Jersey, which you think it's a blue state that'd be easy to find, like in local pals, and I'm fortunate that I was on Blue Sky early, so like I'm a Blue Sky elder queer, and please, like, if you rolled your eyes when I said that, that's fair, that's valid, fair. But like having that little flag in my name has gotten me people just follow me because they need something like that. So it's, you know, I want to say stay off the apps because I know people who go on Grindr and Tinder just to find friends, and like that's dangerous and scary. And I know it works out for some people, but remember what those apps are for. So like I just say, you know, keep at it within reason. You know, Blue Sky is a good one, and that's because like I feel like that's like the least transphobic of all the apps.
Right.
Facebook groups. I don't know anymore. You know, fuck Meta. Fuck. You know? Yeah. Definitely not Twitter.
I would say don't be afraid to start one yourself as well. And just kind of like look for people like that. Not necessarily a place to fit in, but make a place.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Be the change you want to see.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you do that online, because I was like, when I first started streaming, I was still very open about, you know, who I was and stuff like that. But I find within like the last year, I've came more into myself. I've been changing a little bit more and doing more work on myself, and I found that it's drawn more people in, and like it's like an energetic kind of thing. When you feel good, you know, you are good, and then type of thing. So I'm like, I've noticed just showing up for like yourself, excuse me, my voice, just showing up as yourself for yourself first, and like making yourself a priority. It'll make it easier for you to go in online spaces, you know, be it is Blue Sky, be it is Twitch. It'll just come a little bit more easier. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but because you're like your friend first, you're loving on yourself first, you're making yourself a priority first, and you make that a priority every day, it'll make it easier when you go into online spaces to have the people around you that you would like to see and be like supported by and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Seems like a good segue. Have you ever had to leave or set a boundary within a space that did not respect your identity? And what helped you make that decision? Make that
every day.
decision. Excuse me. Yeah, every day.
Every single day.
I'm gonna drag a few people who are keepies, and I'm sorry, but it's bullshit. If you post, don't please post politics in my Discord. I will leave your Discord. Because
that's real.
Not talking about politics is why we're in this mess, okay? It's cool you get to go on Discord and pretend, there aren't problems in the world. I don't have that luxury, okay? I go outside and, it's political, okay? So,
I feel you.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Not to speak for you, but I feel like when your existence has been politicized, then to deny or giant air quotes to say you have a safe space that is free from politics, that is essentially saying that your existence is not important enough to you know what I mean? Like
agreed. Agree. And it goes beyond just trans folk. I'm trans, but I'm also white, so I have a certain amount of privilege other people have.
Intersectionality definitely is a very, very important topic when it comes to the intricacies of existence, and it's very, very important that we acknowledge and live in those experiences, and also learn and educate ourselves on other people's experiences and intersectionalities with all the little nuances that we all exist in. So definitely, yeah.
Just because you want to talk about Harry Potter bullshit doesn't mean you get to invalidate my existence. Also, stop.
That's one of the larger ones that came up over the last the last few years. That was definitely a large thing that has been very prevalent and separating in our communities, even in our spaces. I'd say that's actually one of the large, not to integrate myself as a moderator into the panel, but that is actually something that has split a lot of my personal friendships over the last several years, is actually that it's been unfortunate that hearing and listening to people utilize their token cards. I have a friend that is like this, so they say it's fine. I don't like when people do that. I'm like, that's not the story. It's just really frustrating. But I choose to leave and I choose to set boundaries. I'm like, hey, I have these spaces. I have these morals, and it doesn't mean that someone else has to have those morals. You can live your life the way you want to live your life. But I, as a boundary setter, am going to separate myself because that is my boundary. I'm not going to make you change what you're doing, but I'm going to leave I'm going to leave because that's my boundary being crossed.
Yeah.
It's caused a lot of not a lot. I mean a lot enough, but it's caused a lot of separation in friendships and people that I've communicated with on regular basis over the last several years, which has been unfortunate, but ultimately ripping the Band-Aid off and making our spaces the way that we want them to be and tailoring them the way we want them to be.
Well, for sure, because I shouldn't have to, I shouldn't have to make myself uncomfortable just for you to be comfortable.
Exactly.
That's definitely what some mentality is regarding certain topics that are very harmful and dangerous to queer folks. And some people have a very hard time, and that's their problem, not ours, but it's their problem that they have a hard time, respecting. I think it's just about respect. And I think people refuse to educate themselves, refuse to understand intersectionality, our queer experiences. We're all queer, we have different backgrounds, but people are refusing to acknowledge that. And I just think there's a lack of respect.
Right.
If you don't agree, I'm not even here to go back and forth with you. I had a conversation like this recently with my partner about some folks just well, I'm not willing to adjust to if your pronouns have changed, for example. I'm not willing to adjust. And it's how can you say that you're friends with someone, that you love them,
that you don't
care about them, but you don't respect them enough to make them comfortable and feel safe around you? It's just mind-boggling to me how people are just nope, I'm not going to do it. And it's just willing to cut off. That's the cutoff. It's bizarre to me.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I think when you are someone who's online and you have a community and like you are the voice of the community, it's important to have uncomfortable conversations. Like talking about politics, talking about, you know, hate crimes and all of that stuff that's going on in the world right now. It is important. You can say, oh, well, it doesn't affect me, therefore I don't have to care. It may not affect you, but it may affect, you know, your friend's, you know, daughter in a couple years, or it's affecting your cousin. You don't know. Like, just because they're not out and telling you doesn't mean that they aren't, you know, dealing with this in private. And you need to be prepared to have these uncomfortable conversations. Like, with everything that's going on in the Middle East, there's so many people who are just like, well, I don't want to talk about it because it doesn't affect me and I'm not there. And it's like, it doesn't matter. You know, people are still people. It doesn't matter if you don't agree with them. You know, they are human and they deserve to live. Like, it's, you know, humanity and survival and being who you are is a basic human right. Definitely. And I'm tired of having conversations with people being like, but the Bible says... No, the Bible does not say. Like, if you actually read the scripture, it does not say. But, you know, it's just a frustrating thing. But, you know, it's important to have uncomfortable conversations, especially if you are someone who has a voice on the internet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
And like my like just final piece to this conversation is that I feel like a lot of people tend to wear their privilege as a shield, which is not, you know, not my pony, not my rodeo kind of kind of response to everything happening in the world. And it's like, have you tried wielding your privilege like as a sword instead, and really be an advocate and like know that you are speaking from a place of comfort to then speak and be an ally for marginalized folks because of the way that the world is. It's like, use your privilege not to avoid the hard truths, but to be like a champion for those that kind of need your allyship, right? It's I just how I feel about.
It's how a lot of us feel, and it's very, very important. And it again leans into that intersectionality, and you were mentioning like people with the spaces, and I like this is a good segue into our last question that we can talk as much about as if we like. But how can non-2S LGBTQIA plus folks be better digital allies, or allies in general? But since we're talking about online, we'll sort of hone in with the digital ally. How could we be better digital allies in online spaces?
I'm gonna drop my Ko-fi link, and you could drop
Wait a second.
I know, right?
So
I mean, especially in communities known for toxic communities like Souls games,
and
RuneScape, and World of Warcraft, and League of Legends, and all the games that we've mentioned today. How can we? I say we as if I'm not 2S. How can non-queer individuals help and be better allies?
Check your ego. That's the one thing I think. When I would say circular 2013, 2014, there was a lot of stuff, because this is pre-HRT, I was not aware of as a cis white dude on the internet. And with Gamergate and all these hate groups, it was kind of an eye-opener of just like how bad it is for marginalized folks online, let alone, you know, women at the time. As if it's gotten better, which it hasn't, but yeah, for sake of argument here. Check your ego. Like, there are people out there willing to have conversations with you, and there's this weird like conception that if you misgender someone by accident, they're gonna hate you, whatever. It's like, no, I have friends and family who misgender me all the time, and it's by accident. You know, like, they've known me for 40 years. And, you know, I get by how they use the wrong set of pronouns. I'm not going to, you know, lose their shit. You know, they vote Trump, then me. But, you know, pronouns are pronouns. You know, mistakes happen. People are people. Just get, you know, gotta learn. You're going to make mistakes. But if you're willing to learn, that's the best thing you can do. Just open mind, check your ego, and just talk to them. Treat us normal, you know? Like, fucking, man. That's like, I'd rather talk about games I like or books I read more than the trans experience, but I will talk to trans experience if I can trust you. You
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
Right, that's earned, not given.
Definitely.
Right.
Crummy?
I would say listen to queer people. Like actually listen to all of our stories, all of our experiences. Come to these events, learn something, participate, spread the word. Honestly, like support queer folks, I think would be the most thing. But listen, just genuinely listen and be okay with like unlearning. Like, hey, you know, there's some internal, you know, maybe hatred, you know, like deal with, because a lot of times folks are just projecting a lot of the time.
That's true.
And they're not at peace with themselves. So quite literally listen to us, show up for us. But if you need a moment to just sit back and check yourself, do that. But I think a lot of times folks just kind of run away because, again, it goes back to being, you know, I'm going to be uncomfortable. I don't know about this. Perhaps their upbringing, perhaps their quote unquote experiences, whatever. Because some folks, oh, I had a negative experience, blah, 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 you know, and try to make that the one size fit all experience with marginalized folks. So yeah, like just listen, dude. Just show up, listen. Come to panels like this. Come to events like this. You know, show support to queer folks. And, you know, if you have people around you that are being hateful, correct them. Correct them. Tell them they're wrong. Piss them off. Like literally piss them off. Be loud and be like, you're an asshole. Like, this is not right. Like, just things like that. It can start really small, but like it's still effective, because by you telling one person to piss off, it's quite literally going to make such an experience like a change. It's like a domino effect, you know? So that's what I would say.
Definitely. Umber.
So the new CEO of Jagex, which is the company that owns RuneScape right now, I don't know if anyone is caught up on it, but so Mod North axed a completed Pride event for RuneScape 3 and completely removed, as far as I'm aware, the Pride events from old school RuneScape. So the way that the queer community, because a lot of us are queer in this community, there's people that are very hateful that play the game, as every game. But the way we're really fighting back is we're still organizing our own pride marches in the game. We're pridifying our discords. The official RuneScape Discord actually has a rainbow effect right now for Pride Month. So I would say be visible about it. And like be visible that you disagree. Because that's, I mean, it's like advertisement. I don't want to sound cheap, but you want people to think about these things. So you want them to see it.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
I mean, fuck yeah. Quirky?
I mean, yeah, pretty much very similar to what everybody has kind of already mentioned, but to kind of drive home the point, this is like more local news, but our Toronto Pride, we actually had several corporate sponsors pull out of sponsorship for the festival, which is like the first time in a long time that they've done this. And I will call them out. That's Home Depot, that's Clorox, and that's Google. And so it's like, I see you, like I see these companies and they're going on my list of companies that, you know, don't want to support us when, you know, when it's not so popular anymore too.
Right.
And so it is pretty much back to the community. And the chairman of the chairperson of the entire organization said, Pride is still going to happen no matter what. But it's a reminder that it's a grassroots initiative and it's all about community at the end of the day. So that means that, you know, if you are an individual that happens to have the funds to do so, like, please, like, donate and you know, donate your time, donate your energy, donate your money if you are in a situation to open your ears, ask questions, and don't just see it as like, woo, pride, rainbows, and you know, it's so fun. It's like, it's not a party, like it is, but also it is to for you to listen to everyone's stories and like try your best to understand and put yourself into another individual's shoes to see what that lived experience is like. So when we say, you know, like, yay, pride, it's also protect our trans folks, protect our marginalized, you know, communities, protect people of color that are, you know, being attacked in the streets, kind of thing. So it is it's not leaving power to these corporations to step in. And it's like, we got to give the power back to the people, back to our communities. We uplift each other. We take care of each other.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's...
Yeah, I mean, in chat, Sen just said, it's a party, a protest, and a communication all at once. Pride has always been a protest, and pride has always been a celebration, and pride has always been a movement. And
Exactly.
It's important that we don't forget that. Saint?
I would say, you know, ask questions, but also be prepared for people like LGBTQ people to not want to provide you with the information because it's exhausting. Like, it's exhausting to have to explain your identity, explain who you are. Like, what do you mean you're bisexual? You've only been in relationships with men, kind of shit. Like, it's tiring. I still like women and every other gender. It doesn't matter if I'm in a relationship with a man. Like, it doesn't make me any less bisexual.
Right.
And being an ally doesn't just mean being an ally on online spaces, but in person. You have more privilege than you realize in a lot of cases. And if you see someone, you know, being attacked or, you know, being verbally abused, step in and protect them. Because, you know, yes, you know, they've probably heard it all before, but, you know, to have someone fighting for you and have someone actually looking out and protecting you is just, it provides more motivation and care that, you know, in a world that is so dystopian right now, it's necessary.
Yeah.
And also remember that people who are in your life who may be queer, who are trans, or they're discovering themselves. Discovery is not a linear journey. It may be when they're 60, it may be when, you know, they're 12. You know, the journey happens at different points, and it, you know, it clicks at different times for everyone. So just be supportive, even if they are like 90 years old and suddenly, you know, she wants to marry a woman. It doesn't matter. Support her anyway. Support people. It's as easy as that.
Yeah. There was a lot of commentary and chat in the chat here that I really love and I agree with, but there is a lot of things that we have been taught and ingrained into our minds as humans that live on Earth in this fucking society. We all live in this society, and it is also harshly ingrained in ourselves to be internally homophobic, internally misogynistic, internally this, internally that. And it is up to you internally to work on those things, to relearn those things, to catch yourself in those moments, because even the gayest friend you may have still has those moments. We all have to catch each other, and it's a neighbor, it is a village. And we are also a villager that wants to be cared for. So we need to be working as the tide that is lifting all of the ships and not just being a ship. And it is so, so important for us to be willing to engage with people in conversation and also be willing to on the other side, be willing to accept information and make change. There is a huge difference between hearing someone saying, yes, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to make a mistake, and then continuously making the same mistake because you're not fucking trying. There is a huge thing with trying, and we see that you're trying and we want you to try. But I say in my personal space and community and friends is that I try to meet someone where they're at, and I understand that being chronically online means that I am very educated in queerness and in to us LGBTQIA plus means not a lot of other people are. So while I'm willing to teach somebody, I need them to know that I'm not judging them anymore until they make a mistake after they have learned. It is what you do after you have been provided new information that matters to me. I'm not trying to shame you for not knowing prior, because that's my privilege in having online access and education and those things that I've grew up with. But I'm giving you the information, and I need you to take it and eat it because it's delicious, and then make changes. And that matters to me. Everything you do after you have learned something new is when you will be judged. There's no shame in not knowing something. There's only shame in continuing to be oblivious. And intentional obliviousness is not cute, and it adds you to the society derogatory checklist that I do not enjoy.
That's real.
Yeah. Does anyone have any final statements about anything that we've chatted about? We are wrapping up our panel now, but I would love to hear if anyone has anything they want to say as a goodbye, or anything that they want to say as a final pin in the donkey. I'm done.
Stay queer.
This is the part.
Stay queer.
This is the part where I can say the slurs I want to say, right, Jen?
Absolutely not.
I'm screaming.
Jokes aside, contact your reps, your senators, write to them.
Yeah.
This is a scary time, and we could bully them. We bullied them before, we could bully them again, and and that's mostly directed at the Americas, but also no, wherever you live, contact your reps, annoy them. A simple phone call or email or whatever you're comfortable with. Just do it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And don't give up. When you want to give up, go take a nap or eat something and then wait a while. But don't give up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Drunk dial your
yourself,
senator,
love
not
your
your
neighbor.
ex. T.
You know. I'm screaming. Loving yourself, love your communities. Show up for yourself, but honestly, do your fucking best, dude. It's fucking hard. It's hard every day, getting up and pushing and fighting and constantly reminding folks, and it's a lot every day. So do your best. Just do the best that you can. Don't bring yourself out, but be gentle with yourself. I always remind folks of that. Be gentle. Can't do everything.
I would say, first and foremost, protect your peace.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing. As long as, you are being the best version of yourself and you aren't being a horrible person, protect your peace. But also remember that no matter where you are in your journey, if you're questioning, if you've already fully come out, or if you're still in the closet, you are valid, and I will support you. And, take care of yourself. Make sure you are safe. Make sure you are looking after yourself. You're eating, doing the basics, and take it day by day. You don't have to think about the future, just focus on the here and now. Focus on today. Focus on surviving till tomorrow, and then focus on surviving tomorrow and the day after that. But you've got this.
Love.
Yay.
Love. Mooney in chat said, put your own mask on before helping others. You can't support others if you don't support yourself. Big
Exactly.
T. Agree. Well, let's do some final goodbyes. Tell us about your streams. I'm going to do some shout outs in chat. And you all should be following all of these wonderful individuals because they are all fantastic creators in their own rights and part of the Firekeepers Stream Team because they're wonderful. And you should. So, we started with Wives. We'll start with Saint this time. We'll go backwards. Yeah, tell us about you, Saint.
Hi, I'm Saint. I am a 27-year-old disabled queer streamer. I am currently fundraising for Mermaids, a trans charity here in the UK this month. I play games like Claire Obscure, but I also play Soulslikes and, die a lot and falling down the elevator shaft. I have a cat named Shelby who likes to make an appearance. And I like, having chill vibes, low vibes, being ourselves. And it was an honor to be part of this panel, and thank you so much.
I'm glad you were here and doing it. We all made such good words. I love us. Quirky, tell us about you. I'm so glad you were able to make it.
Yippee! Yeah, I'm Quirky, and I am a neurodivergent queer individual based out of Toronto, Canada. And that is outside of what I have as an auto response.
We love an auto response.
For starting tomorrow for the rest of the month, I think I will be raising money for Trans Lifeline, and it will involve, for those of you that care, a boo boo. So just put it out there.
Okay.
Okay.
Put it out there. But yeah, so that, and then just do no harm, take no shit, stay teachable, and find community, find your fam.
Hell yeah. Umber Glow.
Hi. I'm an Arab American streamer with a limb difference, autism, and OCD, so I got a little bit of everything for y'all. And I don't know. I just like hang out. I've been doing some different stuff. I play a lot of RuneScape, like I said. I'm addicted to Expedition 33 right now, and I'm going to start New Game Plus in French as soon as I can do this last thing that I'm trying to do. But yeah, come hang out with me.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
The wonderful Crummy.
Hello. Hi, friends. Hello. I am Crummy. Also, my name is Renee. But yeah, I'm just a Black queer creative. I'm very neurodivergent. I'm very disabled. OCD gang. Okay, we got a lot in common. Okay, neurodivergent. We all in the same fam. But yeah, I just like to yap a lot. One thing about my space, our community, it's called the Community. I also call them the chat room, because it's like we have a very nostalgia theme. Watch a lot of nostalgic media, because I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, if we got nothing else in common, we like the Rugrats. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's talk about the Rugrats. So I like to use nostalgia, as like a medium to have hard conversations. Really, nostalgia and gaming is kind of like my thing, to kind of bring us together, to do a lot of community resource sharing, learning, educating. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of conversations about manifestation. I am a master manifester, and I kind of teach my community how to do that. I'm also a diviner. I do spiritual readings and card readings and all of that. So, it's a good time. It's a silly, goofy, goober good time. It is 18 plus though, so you know what I'm saying, it do get a little spicy. But yeah, come through, come hang out, and yeah.
You're so cool, and I gotta talk to you about divining.
Yes, I got you.
The Wives Anarchy. Tell us about you.
Okay, now you're getting confident, Christy, because that's yapping time.
Yay!
Hi, I'm Christy. I'm one half of the Wives Anarchy. My partner and I, Amanda, we stream the Soulsborns. That's why we're here. We'll be doing some of that this Friday, actually, the Lies of Pee Pee Poo Poo Man. But also, your girl loves her some Resident Evil, so some of that. We mostly do Soulsborne stuff. I direct and play in a Candle Obscura live play, and that's ending next month. So please be excited for that. And then we're moving to Dagger Hearts because your girl has a bit of the Critical Role bug. No shame in that.
Perfect.
Aside from that, I'm a member of the Pride and the Women's Guild, and you could catch, if you're in the NYC, New Jersey area, myself, my partner Amanda, and Jesse Quill in chat run Stream NYC, which is the largest gathering of Twitch streamers. I want to say the East Coast, maybe second to third in the country. Twice a year, it's a networking event in New York where we gather, yap, network, just like rant about being a content creator. And if you want to talk trans shit with me, I'm on Blue Sky. It's at the Anarchy, at the Anarchy, and then we also have an account for the Wives Anarchy. So 2 of them.
I love.
Yay.
Yay! And anyone who came through and doesn't know who I am, hello, I'm Jen. I stream here on this channel. I am a body positive, comedy forward content creator who's big gay and really excited that this panel went so well. Yee! Okay, we are going to pop out and we are going to have a like 10-minute break. We're gonna pop in some two new creators. We have Rain Player and Mommy Wrestler on to play some Night Rain, and I have some questions prepped and all that stuff. So thank you guys so much for joining on the panel. This is really great.
Thank you. Love you all. Thank you so much.
Love you.
Jay. You're amazing. Love you guys.
Oh my god, we're going on a break
Great
screen.
conversation.
Bye, chat.
Bye.